This is the guy that runs beer pong tournaments. And, I mean, he runs it, and he's actually got one of the biggest beer pong websites in the nation right now. I still talk to him every once in a while. And you know what? Every once in a while, I'll see him or whatever, and you know, he'll be like, hey, man, are you going to come to a tournament? I'm like, no, man, I'm not. You know, that's not what I'm doing. And they're actually, his fiance, I know both of them well. I like them and stuff. And he said, you know what would be cool, man, is if you did our wedding. Could you do our wedding? And you know, we want to go on a cruise, and we just have to, you know, you just may have to, you know, we'll pay for you to go on this cruise. I'm like, oh, I might have to do that, like take one for the team. But this guy, but he's a friend of mine, and he's like, after I get married, you got to promise me one thing, though. You're going to take a shot with me. And I was like, I can't do that. I was like, I'll do your wedding. I'll be happy to. But I can't do that. And he was like, man, and I was like, I signed, you know, A, I've never drank in my life, A. B, I signed a paper that said I wouldn't drink as a leader of this church. I was like, and I can't do that. And he was like, I can respect that. And so he's still my friend, guys, but he doesn't have the amount of influence in my life to where I'm gonna do things that I shouldn't do. And if he did have that influence in my life, I'd have to cut him out. So the biggest thing to avoiding peer pressure, guys, is who is your inner circle? Who are your friends? Who is influencing you? I deal with, a lot of times I deal with the security issues here at 180, and I've never not dealt with an issue that didn't have to do with friends. Never once. Friends are huge, guys. Next story, and as a matter of fact, in Ecclesiastes 4:12, it says this: a cord of 3 strands is not easily broken. So hook up with some good people. Do whatever it takes to find, if you do leave Clovis, hook up with some good people. Do whatever it takes to find some good people to be around. A cord of 3 strands is not easily broken. Next one is, guys, stick to what's right. You know what's right. I know what's right. It's not a secret. How many of you have ever made a bad decision? And probably 99% of the bad decisions you've ever made, you've probably never said, I didn't know that was wrong. Liars. I didn't. You know what's right. You know what's right, guys. So stick to what's right. And there's a reason it's called peer pressure, guys. It's not easy. It's not easy to be able, it's not, this guy, he's actually a couple years older than me. It wasn't easy in high school being on the soccer team as a little JV runt, being invited to parties and stuff and saying no. That's not easy. It's not easy to want to be, in a certain group of people, and when they're doing stuff they shouldn't be, to say no to them. It's not easy at all. But it's called pressure, guys. It makes you stronger. All right? The next way, and the final way we're going to talk about, guys, is to set your trust in God. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they even took it as far as to say that, you know what? We have total confidence that God's going to be able to deliver us from this, not even a shadow of a doubt. B, if he doesn't, we don't care. We're going to do what's right anyways. That they set their trust was so high in God that they weren't afraid of being burnt alive. And actually, if you read on in the story, King Nebuchadnezzar gets so angry at that he actually takes the 3 of them and he has them turn up the fire 7 times hotter than its original heat. And he takes the 3 of them and he has them thrown in. The fire is so hot that the guys he sends to throw them in end up getting burnt and dying. And then the fire, if you go on through the story, the fire doesn't touch them. They take them out of King Nebuchadnezzar sees 4 people in there. He takes them out instead of the 3. And he talks about their God. And they said that not only did the fire not burn them, that not a single hair was singed, and that they didn't even smell like smoke. I can't even go to Shogun without smelling like grease for a week. I used to work at Shogun, and my first day of work, I hated that job. My first day of work, I get to work, and they're like, all right, your job today is to clean out the grease traps, above. You can't even get out there without smelling. I had pants that smelled like grease. I had to throw them away. I couldn't get out. And so I clean out the grease traps, and they're like, okay, here's your industrial strength cleaner. And they said, don't mix this cleaner with bleach because the fumes will kill you. So I'm 16. I'm like, oh, that's very good to know. And it was burning my hands. But you know what, guys? They didn't even smell like smoke. And the last point that I want to say to you guys today is this: that God may not always keep you safe from the fire, but He'll always keep you safe inside of it. It's impossible to go through life without having to deal with peer pressure, without somebody offering you to do something that you don't want to do. It's impossible. It's flat out impossible. But you know what? God's always going to provide a way out. and he's always going to send people into your life that you're going to have the option of 2 types of friends to choose. You know, Brother Rick used to say this, my youth pastor. He said, when God wants to do somebody in your life, he's going to send somebody to help you. When the devil wants to do something in your life, he's going to send somebody to hurt you. And that's the truth. If you look back on it, that's the truth. So guys, I want to encourage you. It's possible. It is possible. You know, I don't say this in a matter of pride, but, you know, with God's help and the right people in my life, I've never drank. I've never done any kind of drugs ever. And I mean, that's hard. It wasn't easy. I was a skater. And not only that, I was one of these skaters that I was actually a pretty good skater. And so I had access to all that stuff at my fingertips. It would have been nothing for me to call a group of some of these older guys that I knew to go get wasted, to go do pretty much whatever I wanted. It was all at my fingertips. But you know, I chose not to do that. And these are the things that I did. I had a good group of friends, guys. Me and my best friend, we made a decision together that we aren't going to do these things. And his brother too. And so there was 3 of us that, you know, it'd be like a Friday night, and we'd have nothing to do, so we'd go skateboarding. And so then it'd be Saturday night, nothing to do, so we'd go skateboarding. And so we did it together, guys, and it's actually possible. I trusted God. You know, I stuck to what was right. I've been invited. I still get invited by Elliot to the beer pong tournaments and stuff, and I'm never tempted. It's beyond the point where it's even a temptation for me. It's not even hard to say no anymore. Because the more you say no, guys, the easier it gets. And honestly, the more you say no, the less they'll ask. I don't even get asked to do most of that stuff anymore. I still know a lot of guys that do it. They don't even invite me. They already know the answer. So you know what I do with those guys, though? I don't cut them out of my life because I want God to touch them, but I'll go see like a movie with them. I don't give them influence in my life. They're still in my life. They're still my friends, but they're not my close friends. So I'll go see like a movie with them where I know that unless you bring it with you, that you're probably not going to be wasted. And I'll go do stuff like that, or go to like Java Loft, or I'll do stuff that I can control the situations to where they're not going to be able to do that, and neither am I. You know, I had a good friend in Albuquerque, same thing. I'd go like bowling with him and stuff that I knew he wouldn't be able to drink. So I want to encourage you guys tonight that it is possible. You're going to have to deal with peer pressure pretty much for the rest of your lives, and especially when you get out of high school. So make good decisions. The 3 things, again, are this. Pick good friends, stick to what's right, and set your trust in God. Let's go ahead and pray.